The Force was not with the Astros during Star Wars weekend at Minute Maid Park this weekend. They dropped 2 out of 3 to the Seattle Mariners. I was at Saturday's game, and all I got with this bobblehead, I did get it along with a couple of vouchers, but with the side of a big fat L. So we're gonna recap this series as well as why these next couple of games could be make or break. This weekend, clearly, because like I said, the Astros had dropped 2 out of 3 to the Seattle Mariners this weekend. As the struggles for the Astros continue, the Astros are far better than this. They have so much talent on this roster, and it is really not translating into wins. Particularly the bullpen. It is horrible. But instead of me thrashing on like the Astros season at this point, like I said, we're recapping series as a whole instead of the season. But I mean, probably at the end of this month, I might make a full video kind of like recapping the entire season, like to that point. But let's break the series down. Starting here in game number 1. Ronel Blanco did get the start in this game, and the Mariners did tag him for 3 runs. The Astros did tie the game up in the 4th inning after the Mariners scored the inning before, but unfortunately the next half inning it wouldn't last very long as they went up ahead 3-1. And that would be the score of the game entering in the bottom half of the 7th inning before things went south for the Mariners, that is. So it started off with the first 2 batters of the inning reaching, with Jeremy Pena drawing a walk and Yanier Diaz getting a base hit. John Singleton came up to the plate, and he had a very good series against Cleveland. But, I mean, for most of this series, he kind of did struggle. In Game 3 of this series, I mean, he did give us a pretty big hit, and I'll break that down in a bit. But he did not end up reaching base or batting in Jeremy Pena from second. But he did advance him and Diaz over to third and second, respectively. So the Astros had the tying run in scoring position for Jake Myers. He would then also walk to load the bases to set the stage up for Mauricio Dubon. And while unfortunately for Cal Raleigh, the Mariners catcher, as he ended up trying to make a pickoff attempt to try and backpick Jeremy Pena at third, the throw went all the way into left field, and although it took Jeremy Pena a couple seconds to realize that the throw was getting away, he was able to score to eventually bring the Astros to within 1. Then Mauricio Dubon ended up hitting a sac fly to right field, I think it says. But yeah, sacrifice fly by Mauricio Dubon to score Yanier Diaz. And this was honestly, this was a miscommunication by Julio Rodriguez and Mitch Haniger, who were center and right fielders out there. But it seemed that Julio Rodriguez was trying to communicate with Haniger, saying that he had got it, and they almost collided. Because of that, Yanier Diaz had taken advantage of that, and he ended up scoring from third while the throw didn't actually even go home. And then in the process, Jake Myers also tagged up and advanced to third on that same play. So then the Astros now had the go-ahead run 90 feet away. And Jose Altuve would certainly take advantage of that as he hit a bunt single that he would eventually leg out while hauling ass over to first to give the Astros the lead. So then, yeah, Altuve ended up stealing second base to give him 300 career steals, so that was a very nice milestone. And then after the Astros had loaded up the bases once again for Alex Bregman, he would eventually draw a bases loaded walk to force home another run for the Astros to give them a 2-run cushion in an attempt to try and pave the way for this somewhat, or I guess supposedly dominant bullpen. And I say that in air quotes because this bullpen has been nothing short of a disaster. Game 3 of this series certainly showcased that, and I mean, obviously, this was one of those games where it didn't showcase that as they were able to get it done. But by the top of the 8th inning for the Mariners is when this game really got interesting, because they had the first 2 runners reach, and Ryan Presley was able to get a strikeout of the third batter that he faced. So the Mariners again tying runs on base with 1 out. But then Mitch Haniger, after he had flied out to right field, I believe the Mariners actually had the tying run in scoring position, so 2 men in scoring position on this play here. Mitch Haniger had lined out to Kyle Tucker, which, I mean, you would think that would be deep enough to score the runner from third. But, and I mean, at that point I was like, you know what, that's okay because we're still in the lead, and at this point all that matters is that we just need to get outs, and we were going to be getting an out. But Josh Rojas, who was actually the guy on third, had actually faked the tag as the throw had come into home, and Julio Rodriguez, who was on second, probably did not anticipate that because he was caught too far off second. And after the Astros were trying to had him hung up, Jose Rojas ended up trying to come to home to try to score it as the throw came in there. Ryan Presley did overthrow his target and Alex Bregman, who was behind him, but Jeremy Pena was there to back him up, as then he made the throw back to Diaz to get what was probably the most eventful double play that I think I have ever seen. And that would eventually be the end of the inning. So, seriously, what was Julio Rodriguez thinking? That's what I want to know. I mean, I have not seen a more horrible base running example than that. Meanwhile, the Astros have made horrible base running mistakes themselves, but that was one of the worst ones that I think I've seen another team make these days. And the Astros would then go on to win this game in the ninth inning with Josh Hader getting the save. But unfortunately for the Astros, that was as good as this game got. Or as this series got, because in game 2 of this series, Luis Gilbert, who was in complete utter dominance of the Astros in this game, as he ended up holding the Astros to just 2 hits over 8 innings of work. Framber Valdez did pitch decent in this game, but he was clearly outdueled by Luis Gilbert. Now, yes, Luis Gilbert did pitch a gem in this game, but at the same time, the Astros certainly made him do it. Our game plan to try and just ambush him over and over again, each time we went through the lineup, clearly did not work, and that's what kind of ended up costing us or allowing him to go the distance, because the Astros really did not make him work to get each out, if you know what I mean. And so, yeah, because of that, the Astros ended up getting shut out 5-0, just the second time this year. And I was at that game, go figure, because, I didn't even last the first couple of innings. But yeah, like I said, I did get this bobblehead from that game. And, stay tuned to the end. I'll be unboxing it at the end of the video. But yeah, like I said, for the final game of this series, it seemed like the Astros were still really fighting to win this game, and I didn't watch this game because I was at work, so I just caught up on some of the key headlines and all that. So Hunter Brown ended up starting this game, and I've always said that he is just not the best. And seeing that he allowed the first 2 guys to reach, I thought I was going to be right. I thought that I was going to be right, but he would end up striking out the next 3, and so then I thought, okay, maybe he'll have a better day. Maybe he'll have a better day. But unfortunately for the Astros, that just was not the case. Because he would then load up the bases in the second inning and issue 2 runs out of that. But thankfully those 2 runs would be all the Mariners would get, and then Luke Raley would end up adding to that 2-0 lead with a home run. But then the Astros would. Then the bottom of the 6th and 7th innings is when the Astros started to be chipping away. Kyle Tucker had snapped out of his slump had snapped out of a slump that he was in with a 2-run home run to right field that would get the Astros within 1. That would be Tucker's 9th home run on the season, which leads the team as of when I'm recording this. And then John Singleton, who had not gotten a hit this entire series, had hit a go-ahead 2-run home run that was honestly more dramatic and jaw-dropping than Tucker's was. I didn't see Tucker's yet, but yeah. Singleton's home run would give the Astros the lead at that point. But unfortunately for the Astros, Brian Abreu, who was coming into this game as the most well-rested high-leverage reliever that Espada could use, because with Ryan Presley's workload, he was just going to be given the day off. Yeah, unfortunately for Brian Abreu, he had hit the first guy that he had faced to put him on base, and then he would end up committing a balk to force that guy to second, and then the next batter who came up ended up singling him home to tie the game, and also would end up blowing the save for Josh Hader, which I believe last time I checked, this is the Astros' 8th blown save on the season to this point in I think maybe 34 games. That is just pathetic. 8 blown saves for a bullpen that's supposed to be as dominant as Abreu, Presley, and Hader. That is just pathetic. Something seriously needs to change on that, because we cannot have this. This is the reason why we are losing these games. 8 of our losses have come on blown saves by this 3-headed monster of ours. It cannot happen. And then when Josh Hader came on in the 9th inning, Josh Hader has come on more often in this game in this season with the games tied rather than games where the Astros have been ahead. And even when he's entered games when the Astros have been ahead, we've usually only been up by 2 runs or less. But today was one of those cases where he came in with a tie game, so it was a non-save situation because it was already a blown save for for Brian Abreu. But then after he had gotten ahead of Cal Raleigh 0-2, he ended up throwing a fastball straight down the middle that Cal Raleigh hammered to the Crawford boxes to give the Mariners the lead, and that's what the final score would be. Like, overall, dude, this was another very frustrating series. The mindset that the Astros need to have going into each series is that we need to win each series that we're playing from this point on. I mean, again, I think we only have like maybe 3, if not 4 series wins to this point. We don't even have a series sweep yet, unless you want to count that Mexico City series, which only consists of 2 games. But we have not swept a series consisting of more than 2 games. Meanwhile, we have been swept 4 times ourselves during that series, one of which was a 4-game set series sweep, which came to the hands of the Yankees to start the season. And go figure, the Astros are facing the Yankees in the Bronx right after this, and then after that, they're going to be going to Detroit, who has also put together a very good team under former Astros manager AJ Hinch. Like, we need it. Like, honestly, dude, the Astros are a lot better than this, and like, they really need to start putting it together, because like, if we're just going to continue playing like this, and we're still like 8 or 10 games under 500 by the trade deadline, then the season's pretty much going to be over. We need to be putting it together. Anyway, dude, enough rant talking on the Astros. Before I let you guys off the hook here, I'm going to go ahead and unbox this bobblehead for you guys. So, this box, it's seen better days, but, you know, it's whatever. So, I'm going to make it quick here. So, this is actually really cool, because we get a little Space City plaque that actually goes, behind the bobblehead. Whoopsie. Okay. And see, hopefully this is in a good condition, I guess. It is. And then I believe this guy just goes on like this. And yeah, there you go. So that, my friends, is the Alex Bregman Space City bobblehead that they gave away at Saturday's game. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, I don't have an Alex Bregman bobblehead just yet, so this will be nice to add in to my, I guess, overgrowing collection of bobbleheads. But anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this. That's gonna do it for this edition of Astros series recaps. Let me know how you think this series should have gone. Again, we need to be starting to put it all together and play good baseball, because this 3-headed monster that the Astros have been signing with Josh Hader, who is arguably, like, he was our most expensive signing this offseason. And, I mean, he's starting to become a waste. Yes, he's 30 years old, and he's a lot younger than Presley. So maybe, but like, clearly he just does not have it. And for a closer like him, he was the best closer in the league last season, and he is not looking like that. Okay, that's enough. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.